Yes, you read that title right, and no, I also can't believe that we're going to install Mac OS X on a Nintendo Wii. So I guess let's go! And if you enjoy mildly cursed computing setups, I hope you'll consider subscribing to the channel. You see, this early 2000s iMac G3 and this Nintendo Wii actually share a lot in common. Crucially and surprisingly, CPU architecture. This iMac here is powered by a PowerPC 750 CPU, which Apple marketed as the G3, and the Wii is powered by a PowerPC 750 CL CPU. I think those numbers match. So running Mac OS X on a Nintendo Wii might not be so impossible, just highly improbable. Ah yes, the soothing dulcet tones of the Nintendo Wii. Boy, I hate this controller. How do I find out what menu version I'm running? Oh, 4.3U. Okay, sweet. So we're gonna be using a GitHub repository by Brian Keller, who did all of the heavy lifting here. And in addition to this wonderful GitHub repository he's put up, he also wrote a very in-depth blog post detailing exactly all the magic he had to do to get this to work. And I have to admit, some of this is pretty far above my pay grade. So I'm going to post a link to this in the description of the video, of course, and definitely recommend giving it a read. We, however, are going to be using the instructions in the GitHub repository, which removes a lot of the hard stuff and should be fairly straightforward, although the first thing we're going to have to do is jailbreak my Wii, because I've never done that. And we're going to be using this, hopefully, straightforward jailbreaking process. And this also has a handy tool which lets us do a customized hack with our own MAC address and download a zip file that should jailbreak this without issue. Now, to get the MAC address, we have to go into Wii settings, and then we go to Internet. This is easy to crack, fortunately. So, yeah, don't know the PIN. Okay, so we have to go into parental controls, change parental controls. I forgot the PIN. I forgot again. Let's take a quick picture of that. Michael MJD shared this tool many years ago. Let's see if this works. Please don't steal my confirmation number. Okay, there's my unlock code. Take a picture of that. Hopefully that works. All right, let's see here. 17679. Yes! All right, now we need to go to Internet, console information. Oh, there we go, MAC address. Take a quick picture of you. All right, now in our tool here, we've got version 4.3U. Yep, and then the MAC address. We've got 0026590E29
Oops.
EC. And I'm sure that giving all this information out in a YouTube video is totally fine, right? All right, so I grabbed a couple SD cards to use. Let's get this hack on the disk. So I believe we need this. We need to unzip it. There are some instructions, but this seems quite simple. Let's go hack our Wii. And right into the little front-facing SD card slot this goes. Power on. Right after this quick word about today's sponsor, Delete Me. Today's internet is a weird place. Everything you do and say online is analyzed, cataloged, chopped up, and sold on the open market of data brokers. And it's not just shady advertisers buying this data. Your private info can wind up in the hands of cyber criminals and scammers, fraudsters, and worse. Oh look, another political text. This is exactly the kind of thing that Delete Me can help to address. I've been using Delete Me for well over a year now, and they help me control my personal information in ways I was never able to accomplish on my own. They constantly scour the internet for my info and report back to me exactly which data brokers and websites have it. And then, well, they delete me. There's even a privacy advisor I can reach out to at any time. Just look at my listings removed over time. A big spike at the beginning where they removed the huge amount of data that was just floating out there on me, and then a consistent removal of all the data that keeps popping back up. Get 20% off Delete Me consumer plans when you go to joindeleteme.com/actionretro and use code ActionRetro at checkout. Thanks again, Delete Me, for sponsoring today's video. And now I believe it said that we need to go to messages. Yesterday's messages. Oh, there it is. Oh, we're jailbreaking now. Oh yeah, we got it. All right, we'll just install everything. Install the homebrew channel, yep. And boot me. We need to prepare an SD card. Okay, we will install to the SD card we're currently using. Success. I think we've got it. Oh yeah, the homebrew channel. All right, so we need two SD cards. Here's the one containing boot me, and here's a new one, which will be the Mac OS X file system. You'll pop that in. All right, here is our boot me disk. Download the latest version from releases. I already did that. WiiMac. Copy this to the root folder, the SD card. And in boot me, we have PowerPC boot.elf, armboot.bin, yep. And in WiiMac, yeah, we've got our two files. Set the correct video mode, okay. Config.txt, video mode NTSCP, probably fine. And then next on a different SD card, we'll prepare a Mac OS X system to be installed. All right, eject this card. Next, we need 3 partitions. All right, so we'll follow these instructions to format this disk. Disk 9, okay. All right, in this list here, we've got our patched kernel and drivers. All right, make a WiiMac folder in here for our patched drivers right here. And now what we're doing is copying the installer from the DMG installer, official installer from Apple for 10.0, and we're copying that to the install partition on the SD card, so it will boot the Mac OS X installer. And, yep. Seems fine. Input-output error. Great. I don't know why this is being so grumpy. Let's change this block size. Well, hopefully that completes. All right, so first in goes the boot me SD card, which should get us into an installer. All right, this next part is a little bit weird, but hopefully it works. And we've configured everything correctly. Once we're in the homebrew channel, we have to press home and then go down to launch boot me. And now, interestingly, in the boot me menu, the controller doesn't work. It doesn't do anything. And instead of using this thing, we use the controls on the front of the Wii. We press the power button to change the option. So we go over to SD card and then reset to select it. And then we scroll through the SD card list, again using the power button, select WiiMac, and then we go down to WiiMac.elf. Which should boot the Mac OS X installer, or at least bootstrap us into this, which is the actual Mac OS X installer, because WiiMac is basically a bootloader. A magical, wonderful bootloader. All right, will you boot Mac OS X? Blue screen. That's promising. Power button still illuminated, so I'm just gonna let this go for a while, and hopefully it boots something. Well, apparently something has gone horribly wrong because it's been at this blue screen now for like an hour. Pretty sure it's not gonna boot into Mac OS or the bootloader. But I have a solution, and since there's no way this can possibly go wrong at this point, he says assuredly, let's hook up a USB keyboard, Bondi Blue Apple keyboard of course, and the Tasty Cake mouse. Because yes, there are custom drivers written for these USB ports, and in fact, for a lot of stuff inside the Wii. All right, I've got a good feeling that we're about to be computing instead of just gaming. Chuck this in here. These buttons don't do anything right now, because I think it is frozen. Turn it off, back on. All right, press A to continue, sure. I'll go homebrew channel. Launch boot me. Okay, I've switched the video mode to NTSC-I, and it looks like it's working. It is now telling us to swap the SD card to our Mac OS X SD card. I think it was this one. And then enter. Reset. Power. Oh, look at that. Bootable partitions, Macintosh HD, and install. Power to select no, power removes it. Okay. Reset to select install. Loading kernel. Holy smokes. Ah, yes, my favorite. Failed to load kernel. Great. So I put the Mac OS X SD card in here and selected the boot. Blue screen, flickering disk drive. What the heck does this mean? Why is it flickering like that? Is it loading? Alright, so I had a sneaking suspicion that this was perhaps a symptom of a video issue, so I went out and bought a cheap HDMI adapter for my Nintendo Wii. I think it's working. Oh my god, it's booting! No freaking way! It was booting this whole time. That's what this flickering was. It just couldn't handle this video mode. I guess for some reason, Mac OS X doesn't like RCA connectors. No freaking way. This is Mac OS X. We're at the desktop. This is freaking wild. Did I just find my new daily driver? Oh, we're in, friends. We are in. Oh, it's beautiful. Oh my god, this is freaking ridiculous. I cannot believe that this works. Let's see, about this Mac. All right, there we go, 78 megs of RAM. The Nintendo Wii has a really weird RAM configuration where it's like split in half in a way that I don't even understand. But yeah, the developer here patched them together and gave us 78 megs of RAM on our G3 CPU. I cannot freaking believe this. All right, well, let's start with what doesn't work. Everything. Obviously, as you expect, this does nothing in here. There are no Mac OS X drivers for that sensor bar, but there's also no driver for sound or networking or anything. Even the video driver here is, I think, just the frame buffer. Because why would Apple create video drivers for the Nintendo Wii? It is honestly extremely wild that this just frickin' works. I mean, okay, we had some trouble getting it to go, but this image here, this is actually provided by the developer, and it is an even more up-to-date Mac OS X. Yeah, I think we're at 10.04, so this is an updated Mac OS Cheetah. There are some things installed on here. We've got lots of developer tools, Microsoft Word and PowerPoint, and Excel, in case you want this to be your day-to-day computer. Oh no, it's starting the classic environment. Oh my god, we have the classic environment on here? No freaking way. It's best to stop the classic. Yeah, continue starting. Oh, look at that happy Mac. Oh, this is so freaking wild. All right, well, it took freaking forever, but we got there. Look at this. We have Microsoft Word on classic. We also have the Oregon Trail. Oh my goodness. Licensed to Jenny Rossman rules. All right. Let's be pioneers. Yeah, so this is frankly something I didn't expect. Classic mode to be fully working and working well. I mean, there's no lag. It just works. Is there anything else on here? All right, just some boot stuff. Oh yeah, I forgot. The computer icon is an iMac G3 in this version. I love that. Yeah, not a whole ton of applications pre-installed. But we could very easily get software onto here from, say, the Macintosh Garden, because it's pretty easy to write to an SD card. Again, a lot of things don't work. We already talked about sound, the optical drive, any sort of acceleration. Networking does not work, which is unfortunate. Also, this is the only screen resolution we're going to get out of the Nintendo Wii, unless we do some hacking. And if we do that hacking, we will get a bigger resolution, but it will be very slow. So I think this is 640 by 480, and that's good enough for me. So, the Nintendo Wii, a serious business computer. And this also serves to remind me that there are people out there doing literal magic just to see if it's possible. So thank you, kind developer, for this literal work of art. But that'll do it for today's video. If you want to try any of this stuff for yourself, I'll put links down in the description below, and thank you very much for watching. And I just want to give a very special thank you to all of my Patreon supporters and channel members. Thank you so much, each and every one of you, for supporting me and supporting this channel and all the weird stuff I do. I am so very grateful, and I just could not do this without you.